What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for AEW on TBS review. Yes, we are no longer on TNT. It is now TBS. This was the debut episode, and this was one of the worst episodes AEW have ever put out. This was absolutely top to bottom terrible fucking wrestling, like terrible booking. The opening match was the world title. Why the fuck the opening match had to be the world championship is beyond me. Basically, that match comes down to let's stall, making everyone believe we're gonna go to 60 minutes. Let's both bleed excessively to make it seem like it's a big deal that we're like it was just way too much of the same thing. It was fucking bad all around. Terrible booking. TBS title. I'm just going to say this right now. The women's division in AEW is dead. There is no reason to give a shit about the women's division. Tony Khan made that very clear tonight that he does not care about women's wrestling. And the fact that you have Ruby Soho losing to Jade Cargill just shows you that AEW and Tony Khan do not give a fuck. Do not give a fuck about the women's division. Why should I care about the women's division if Tony Khan does not give a fuck about the women's division? That is what you have to think about that. In the main event, we had a big shocker as we have new World Tag Team Champions in the Jurassic Express. That is your AEW review in a nutshell. It was a bad show. We're going to talk about it more here in a second. But outside of the main event, and CM Punk gets one up on MJF, and MJF starts the year off 0-1. If you go back and watch the whole entire segment, Tony Schiavone, when he realizes that MJF has a losing record, he couldn't be happier to see this guy have a loss, whether it's by DQ, count out, or whatever it is. He is just happy that MJF starts 2022 off 0-1. It's actually a little funny. They have their back and forth, which was fantastic, as it always is. And we get the match next week that we all knew was going to be coming eventually. CM Punk versus Warlow. That is another domino that needed to fall before we would get CM Punk versus MJF. Also, Warlow gets to have his symphony of powerbombs. Malachi Black took on Brian Pillman Jr. and then teasing what? I don't know. Julia Hart did return to the side of Brian Pillman. Only thing she had was an eye patch, and her happy demeanor was gone. And I believe that is all the matches tonight. I believe that's all the matches tonight that happened on this show. So we started the show off with Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is how low on the totem pole of world title holders Hangman Adam Page is right now. Yeah. People can say, oh, he's a made man. Really? Main evented to win the championship, but he's the curtain-jerking world champion. His two title matches, defenses, have been the opening match. That is a bad look for a champion that you've been building and want to be taking as a serious threat. He can't even be in the main event. Again. First time, understandable because they want to do that bullshit 60-minute time limit draw. But this time, yes, we got new World Tag Team Champions at the main event of the night, but this should have been it. This should have been the finale, the final match of the show to kick off your time on TBS. This was the best it could fucking do. Basically, it's Hangman Adam Page, Bryan Danielson, they're having their match, and Bryan Danielson's trying to stall. Later in the match, Hangman Page tries to stall some, just to make you think, oh, they're going 60 minutes again. By the way, it was Mark Henry, Paul White, and Jerry Lynn were the judges if it was going to go to that. Thankfully, it did not. But this was just bad booking. AEW needs to do something that they need to stop doing. They need to stop excessively using blood. Had a hardcore women's tag team match this past week, Friday, on Rampage. And you had, was it the Bunny and Conti both got bloodied in that match. That match warranted blood. This match did not. It doesn't. Remember there was a time where AEW, I mean, yeah, Double or Nothing 2019, Cody Rhodes was busted open, and in the very next month, at what was it, Fight for the Fallen, he was cut open on accident by Shawn Spears. After that, AEW really didn't rely on blood that much for a good while. Now it's like there's blood at every single big fucking match, and it takes away. If you don't use blood for like a year, say we don't use blood for the rest of 2022, we come back around to next year's beach break, which will be 2023, and somebody bleeds, it'll be a big fucking deal if you do it in the right match because it's like, wow, we haven't seen blood in a while, but we see blood all the fucking time now. Cody Rhodes has to bleed in almost every fucking match he's in because he's a Rhodes. Rhodes have to bleed. Enough of the blood. First off, Hangman Page obviously was bladed. Bryan Danielson, like, when they came back from commercial and he was bleeding, I think, like, if he bladed, it looked like he pulled an Eddie Guerrero because he was bleeding way too much. Someone did make a joke on social media that the Red Cross doesn't have enough blood to keep these guys alive. Because someone asked, can we have a Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page match on TBT on Wednesday night every week? That was fantastic. This match was not fantastic. This match was mid at best. Like, people can try to sit there and say, if Hangman lost the title tomorrow, he'd be a made man. No, he's not. No, he's not. Being the guy who went off and beat Kenny Omega, who was beat down, bruised, battered, injury after injury, vertigo, all that stuff. He beat a broken down champion to win the title. And then his first two title defenses, one goes to the 60-minute draw, and the second one is both opening the show. That just is bad booking all over. Till he has a main event level match in the main event, not a main man. Not even close. Hangman Adam Page wins with the buckshot lariat in about 34 minutes. Match was okay. Like I said, way too much stalling. If you weren't going the 60 minutes, don't pretend like you're going to. I do not need excessive stalling in my title matches. Get that shit out of here. Claim or shown backstage talking about how they stood tall last week, even though Anthony Bowens lost. And they will finish with Darby Allin next week. They will be dropping a viral music video and rap song and whatever. MJF comes out for his scheduled match against the captain, Shawn Dean. As soon as he gets to the ring, before the bell can even ring, or the bell rung, CM Punk runs down there, chases MJF away. He's telling us, like, come on, man, come on. Comes to Shawn Dean, kicks him in the gut, puts him up, hits him with the GTS. Aubrey Edwards rings the bell, and MJF is 0-1 in 2022. Damn, it doesn't work. He has to be 0-2 before they have him have a win. And Punk gets the mic and says, this is going to happen every single week until I get my hands on you. However, MJF tells Punk, everything Punk does induces boredom. He points out how Punk said he was dropping this situation last week, but here he is. You did read that. You did listen to his promo, right, MJF, where he said it'd be ashamed if somebody stopped you from getting your title opportunity. So this is what the man meant. This is what he was talking about. That he is going to spend every waking moment making sure that you do not become the AEW World Champion. That was what he was talking about. Yeah, claims without him, Punk is nothing. He then asked if Punk thinks he is Party Piper because the last time he checked, Piper was talented enough to headline a WrestleMania, which got a big reaction from the crowd. MJF then claims if he doesn't start getting shown the respect he deserves, he might go headline a Mania as well. This gets CM Punk laughing, and I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, no, too short. You don't look the part that Vince McMahon wants. You can't promo like this in WWE. The only thing you'll be doing is in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That'd be the closest MJF in WWE. Whatever name they would want to give him. And that's the closest he would come to WrestleMania, is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. MJF, CM Punk, of course, is laughing. He's like, "What's so funny, dipshit?" And he says, "If you think the grass is greener on the other side, by all means, go right ahead. Maybe you can headlight night 4 of a buy one get one extravaganza show and get released quicker than he last in the sack." Oh my god, what a line. What a fucking line. MJF teases the match. He's like, "You want the match? You guys want the freaking match? Next week." Then we got this was pretty interesting. We got the split screen, and then the grate between it, like when we had the what do you want to call it? There was a McMahon, like when Shane McMahon said he bought WCW, had a little thing in between him and his father, the little like steel thing. They did something like that here, and he's like, "Next week it's gonna be CM Punk versus Warlow." And walks off. Obviously, needs to get through Warlow. He got through FTR. John Spears is nobody, so let's not even worry about that. He has to get through Warlow to get to MJF. And I wonder why he didn't just go with another version of the Labors of Jericho, or what he did with like something where CM Punk has to do these things, beat Warlow, beat FTR, probably in a 2-on-1 handicap match, which would be stupid. Beat Sean Spears, easy said and done. Beat somebody else he can find from the outside. And then, and only then, would he get MJF. Because we still have this month and all of next month before we get to Revolution. And this is a Revolution pay-per-view match. You don't put this on Breach Break. You don't put this on whatever they have in February. This happens at Revolution, period. Jericho hits the ring after we come back from commercial break. And he says, "This is the historical night." Oh, wait, I forgot. Punk did finish off with this. He said, "The difference between himself and Piper and one like MJF is that he and Piper would fight anyone." He says, "Eventually, bring on Warlow, because eventually everything will runs to MJF, and I will put you to sleep." So CM Punk, Warlow next week should be, and the commentary even said so as well. Should be a good match next week. Jericho comes out after we come back break. Comes out, says this is a historical night, which gets a TBS chant. Says he hasn't been on TBS since 1999 when he was on WCW Thunder, losing to Booker T. Says it's great to be back anywhere after 2.0 took him out, but he's back. Jericho says he didn't come out here last week to save Eddie Kingston, was to simply get some revenge. Oh, really, Jericho? So why did you have to wait for your music to come get your revenge? As soon as they started beating down your boy Santana, your ass should have been out there with Floyd taking care of business, but you waited until your music played so everybody could sing Judas. Eddie Kingston versus Chris Jericho's got to be coming down the line at Revolution. That's where I think this is going. We're going to pivot from these guys separately feuding with 2.0 to eventually butting heads. And if they don't have Eddie Kingston mention how, "Oh, you came down to save your buddy, huh? Sure waited till your music played to come and do it." Something like that, in much better way than I can. So 2.0 now classified by Jericho as Squarehead and Pinhead. Dean grabs his bat and says he might have to hit them right over the head and knock them out of the park. Daniel Garcia comes out of the crowd for a sneak attack. He gets hit with the bat. However, all three men jump Chris Jericho. Here comes Santana Ortiz and Eddie Kingston to beat up on 2.0. They will have another 6-man tag team match. No disqualification, no holds barred pretty much on Rampage. That match should be taping right about now. And then we have Adam Cole backstage. They did mention how on Monday we had Jake Atlas make his AEW debut in a tryout match. And Jake Atlas was signed on Tuesday. But I thought AEW wasn't diverse, so swole. Yes, I heard about the big swole shit. I thought AEW wasn't diverse. But here we have Jake Atlas, one of those openly gay wrestlers, being given an opportunity in AEW. Where's that diverse? Where's that like AEW's not diverse argument at, swole? Here's my thoughts on this. Tony Khan should have said what he said a lot differently. Big Swole isn't lying. She sounds like she is a bitter ex-employee who expected to walk into AEW, have the red carpet rolled out for her, and have every opportunity she could handed to her. She didn't have to work for it. She didn't have to get better. She just expected everything to be handed to her on a silver platter. And then she had the beautiful line of, well, my daughter watches AEW and she doesn't see anybody represent her. So, Jade Cargill, the most protected person in AEW, 22-0 last year, didn't lose a single match. She doesn't represent your daughter? What about yourself? What about Red Velvet, who was, at one time, a massive jobber on AEW Dark, losing every single match, somehow, someway, was in one of the most high-profile matches in March when she and Cody Rhodes took on Shaq and Jade in Jade's first match. That you want to go out there and say, oh, well, there's no Black World Champion, because nobody's up there yet. Hell, Scorpio Sky was one half of the first AEW World Tag Team Champions. But I guess that's not good enough for you, Swole. Honestly, she came off as a bitter ex-employee, didn't get her way, and was let go, and didn't have her contract renewed because she thought she should have had everything handed to her, even though her disease that she has that I would never want to have anyone go through, but she has to go through, is going to hamper her. And she talked about how AEW doesn't really have scripted. They don't have people there to help her when she needed help. Bullshit. Dustin's there. You have all these other people out there. If you have problems with your promos, you don't think your promos are doing well, you have Eddie Kingston, you have Chris Jericho, CM Punk, MJF, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley when he was around. You have people there you could have talked to. If you need help in your ring, you have Jerry Lynn, Dean Malenko, and everyone else to help you in any facet that you needed to make sure you are a better person. When you look back from the beginning of 2021 to the end of 2021, you wouldn't be the same person as you started the year. But you want to sit there and say there's not enough diversity? Jade Cargill wins the TBS title. We'll talk about that in a second because I will have that in my thoughts on that because this is the last time I'm talking about the women's division because Tony Khan made it very clear tonight that he does not give a shit about women's wrestling with who he put that title on. But still, the same. Jade Cargill takes that argument that Big Swole came up with last week and null and voids it. Red Velvet takes that entire argument and makes it null and void. Karashida, Riho, make that entire thing null and void. It's not about real true diversity, which would be like all ages, all races, sexes, and male and females all equal together. It's all about color of her skin, and that's what she was talking about. Big Swole will never probably get another fucking job in the professional wrestling world because the thing she did it here at AEW, she goes to WWE, she'll cry the same thing if she just sits there and does nothing but keep herself the way she was. No, they just signed Jake Atlas, and no, Jake Atlas being signed wasn't her like Tony Khan getting back at Big Swole. Hey, look, we just signed this gay guy. That's the verse. No, Tony Khan had his eyes on Jake Atlas back in 2019 when AEW was coming up before they made their debut on TNT. Tony Khan wanted to sign this guy and get him into AEW. If Jake Atlas would have signed with AEW in 2019, he would probably be on the same level of a Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, MJF. He would be up in that echelon, but now he's not. See, somebody like Jake Atlas, as I'm going to pivot back to him because this is what it's about him. Jake Atlas himself is coming in a time where it's going to be much harder for a guy like him to break through than a guy like a Jungle Boy or a Darby Allin who didn't have Bryan Danielson there yet, or Sting, or CM Punk, or Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. Bigger names, so they had the room to breathe, the room to become big names. Darby Allin would have went to WWE, failed, and came to AEW now. Darby Allin would not be the big name he is today. Jungle Boy, same thing. MJF, same thing. Sammy Guevara, same thing. These guys were day oneers who went out there and took a chance on a company like AEW. Jake Atlas didn't. Jake Atlas said, I can understand looking at it both ways. Jake Atlas was like, this new company, AEW, yes, they could be a success and be where they're at today, or they could just fall on their face and fail. And me signing there, I'm not sure if I want to go down that route, because if they fail, then I have to start back at square one, and WWE might not be interested anymore. Or I could sign with WWE right now, wrestle there for a few years, make bank for my family and myself and whatever. Then if things go bad, I might go over there. It's like, I can see both sides of the coin of why you want it. Like, Jake Atlas, a guy who the fuck is Jake Atlas? When the entire AEW started, look at a guy like Sammy, look at a guy like Darby, look at a guy like Jungle Boy and MJF. To somebody coming over to watch all these guys, it's like, who the fuck are these guys? I don't know who any of these guys are. To a lot of people, it's like, who the fuck is Jake Atlas? And I'm not talking about the hardcore fans who've seen him wrestle on the indies and everything. I'm talking about guys who come, the men and women who come and watch, or relapse fans coming to watch Chris Jericho, John Moxley, because they know his work as Dean Ambrose. Jake Atlas is definitely going to be one of those guys we'll probably see mostly on Dark Elevation. I mean, he's going to be facing Adam Cole this Friday on Rampage. So he's definitely going to get a step up over a lot of guys who come in who does need the rub, because I've never seen a Jake Atlas match until this past Monday. I did not see him wrestle in NXT. I did not see, because by the time he got into NXT, I was done with NXT. I was just watching AEW exclusively because NXT kind of just meh. It was dead. I saw the writing on the wall in NXT before it got to where it is now. Like, yeah, Jake Atlas, 205 Live, didn't watch any of that stuff. So what he did on Monday, very impressive. I think he's definitely a young star in the making if they give him the right seasoning and let this guy go out there and give you good show. Give him the opportunities that he can have. Is it going to be harder? Yes, because you have a Bryan Danielson, you have an Adam Cole, a Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, a John Moxley supposedly coming back very, very soon. Rumored. We don't know that yet. We don't know anything when it comes to John Moxley, because they're not going to tell us. And honestly, I hope that whenever John Moxley makes his return, nobody tells us till he's standing in the middle of that ring for AEW and he's attacking Hangman Page or whoever else. That's what I want to see, that's when we know John Moxley's back. Breaking news, John Moxley returned to AEW this Friday. No, I don't want to see that. So, yeah. I hope to see, like, what I saw on Monday was very impressive. I think he's still got a ways to go, but I think, yeah, it's broken. I gotta talk about that later. Phoenix broke his arm tonight. Yeah, Jake Atlas, nice pickup. I mean, it bolsters the Dark and Dark Elevation roster right now. He'll probably be one of those guys who wins a lot there. Like, they just signed Jay Lethal a couple weeks, like, back at Full Gear, and what has he been doing? Wrestled Sammy Guevara for the TNT title, then the Battle Royal for the Diamond Ring, and has wrestled mostly, like, 2 matches on Dark Elevation. That's it. What are they doing with Jay Lethal? Now you sign a younger guy in Jake Atlas, who a lot of people, and I guess I'm from what I've been reading, I think him and Sonny Kiss were a tag team on the independent scene. I don't know. Like I said, I had never heard of Jake Atlas. I didn't hear about Jake Atlas until, they were talking about him. But yeah, like, if that happens, cool for him. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Jake Atlas. I'll give him I'll give him the opportunity. Like I said, very impressed on Monday what he did. But I can't wait to see what him and Adam Cole do, because Adam Cole can make anybody look good. So speaking of Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish are backstage. He does say Cole say something to, like, keep the camera on Cutler. Brandon Cutler and the Young Bucks were not here this week because of COVID. Let's just get that out the way. Matt had COVID, and yeah, it was not good. Brandon Cutler also had COVID, so Matt, Nick, and Brandon Cutler stayed home, and that was just sucks. Brandon Cole's back there with Red Dragon. And he's pretty much doing talking the same stuff to them that he did with the Young Bucks. How them as a five-some is a super team. Nobody's gonna be able to stop them. See, Bobby Fish is all into it and everything, and Kyle O'Reilly's just standing there like, dude, we ain't cool yet. We ain't cool at all. That's what you just get this look of. He's not really excited to be working with Adam Cole still. I love the fact that they still have that tension from NXT. Of course, if we were in that, if this was the other way around and they left AEW to go to NXT, it'd be like nothing happened. It would be like nothing happened. Like in 2019, when the Young Bucks had a chance to come to WWE instead of starting AEW, they would have been put in NXT. They would have ran into Adam Cole, and it would have been like they never kicked his head off. I mean, they kind of like that now, but still, just one of those things. And he does bring up Jake Atlas and fastest, youngest, rising star, something like that, and says that, how about in 2 nights' time, it's one-on-one Adam Cole versus Jake Atlas. And yeah, that is, I can't wait to see what that's like, because Jake, like I said, impressed with Jake Atlas did. That cartwheel, which they call, I think, the something wall moon, DDT, cartwheel into DDT off the top rope, very impressive. Adam Cole is going to be the measuring stick for somebody like Jake Atlas. If Jake Atlas can hang with Adam Cole, he's got a good future in AEW. Warlow kills Antonio Zambrano, however you say that fucking name. Basically, Warlow's in there being checked by the referee. Sean Spears decks the bad, hits him with the C4, throws him in the ring, and he's like, dude, just pin him. He's done. He's dead. Pin him. After the bell rings, of course. He's like, fuck this shit. Picks him up, powerbomb 1, 2, 3, 4. We ain't done yet. 5 times. Stands, does his pose. And that is that. I was so hoping they would let him talk for just a second and be like, CM Punk, this is you next week. But nah. So, Warlow, done there. Hey, Cargill versus Ruby Soho TBS title match. This was a joke. This was an absolute joke. Ruby Soho did everything she could. I will say, Jade coming out of Storm, she looked nice and all. That was pretty cool. This just killed the women's division. Any heartbeat that women's division had left is dead. They gave her the title. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. The fact that you had Tony Khan went on an interview a couple weeks ago, and said that Jade Cargill has made a bigger impact in wrestling than Goldberg did in WCW, is a little stupid. That is Tony Khan having his head up Jade Cargill's ass. Tony Khan not giving a shit about the women's division. You got the Faker, who's been women's champion since Double or Nothing, and has dragged that championship through the mud, devaluing that championship every single week. Now you have Jade Cargill winning the TBS title, and it's like, I have 2 options now because I got to this point. Who do I want to have be the TBS champion? I want somebody who can wrestle long matches and add prestige to that championship. Or I want somebody who can't wrestle to save her fucking life and can't go more than 2 minutes. I'm going to go with the one that can't go more than 2 minutes. It's a joke. The women's division is dead. The women's division will never, until I see improvement in this women's division, which isn't going to fucking happen anytime soon. This women's division, none of these matches will ever be talked about on here. I don't care if it's Serena Deeb versus Sheeta. I don't care. I don't want to talk about the women's division anymore because the women's division in AEW clearly does not matter. This was your choice. Put the TBS title on someone who isn't even in her wrestling career for a full year. That would be like Hook walking up to Cody Rhodes and like in the Battle of the Belts, taking Sammy Guevara's spot and winning the TNT Championship. I would shit on that as well. This is a joke. I don't want to hear or see anybody defend this shit. This was a joke, and I'm never talking about the women's division again. Speaking of Battle of the Belts. Now, I expect they're supposed to have these quarterly shows where we're going to have a show on TNT. I'm sure all of them are going to be Battle of the Belts. It's like Clash of Champions, the Clash of Champions 1, 2, 3. This is going to be Battle Belts 1, 2, 3, 4 every year. I'm telling you on 2 matches. 2 matches. 2 matches. One that's overly predictable with the worst women's champion in your company's history, beating Riho, and nobody's going to give a shit about that title even more. And then the other one has some intrigue because maybe Cody Rhodes will finally be the heel that people want him to be. Or Sammy Guevara can win the title back. I don't know. That match has intrigue. But 2 matches on a 1-hour show, Sammy and Cody could go a half an hour, I'm pretty sure. No doubt about it. They could even go 45 minutes, but I don't think they need to go that fucking long. In the women's championship match, you're not going to have them go a half an hour, are you? No. You just gave Jade the championship. I wouldn't be surprised if she defends her title the first night. Her first title defense will be on Battle of the Belts. The fact that you're trying to sell people to watch this show on 2 matches alone, not worth my time. It's going to be live, but it's not worth my fucking time. NWA USA, the very new show that NWA is doing on YouTube. I'll watch that because that's going to be an hour worth watching. Even though I don't know most of the people in that tournament they're doing for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. Austin Aries and Homicide have buys, but like I'd rather watch that than Battle of the Belts because Battle of the Belts, you had your world title and your tag team titles on this show. One of those matches should have been on Battle of the Belts. One of them. Not saying both. One of them. World title should have main evented tonight. The tag team title should have main evented Battle of the Belts. You got 15 minutes out of it. It was like a 15-minute tag team title match tonight. I would have rather had that be your main event. You have the TBS women's title, finish those off, and then you get 15 minutes to Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and the Lucha Bros. That's why I would have went with that. I don't know. All I know is I don't see a reason to watch Battle of the Belts. You can find the information out later. It's going to be obviously predictable in one of the matches. I'm sure they'll throw a match on there. They'll name a third match probably on Friday. But it's like you're trying to sell me a show that's supposed to be pay-per-view quality on a Saturday night. Just, no. I don't see any reason to watch it. So there will be no Battle of the Belts review. I don't see any fucking reason to talk about it. So there's not going to be any of that shit. Alright, Malachi Black versus Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman is back out with Julia Hart, who has an eye patch. The 2 minute, she has an eye patch on. She's sitting in the corner. She has a change in attitude. I'm thinking, so where's Pac at? Pac, I don't know if he's injured or something. Maybe he's stuck in the UK due to COVID restrictions, whatever. We haven't seen Pac in a while. We'll expect Julia Hart to also join the House of Black. This match lasted maybe 3 minutes. Of course, Malachi Black wins with the black mass. I don't know if they're calling it in any AEW. Don't really care. He stares down Julia. He then gets into the ring. He's scared for her life. Lucha Bros make their way out. Lights go down. People are like, oh, because people know. Everyone knows Brody King has signed with AEW. And they had that promo at When It Was Coming, I believe, where he does that what do you call it? That ritual for somebody that says you're now more than the king. Everybody is expecting Brody King to show up here. Lights come back on. The Lucha Bros are in the ring, and Malachi is on the ramp, and he just walks away. Why? What the fuck is this? Clearly, it's supposed to probably lead to Brody King, and it's probably supposed to lead to Brody King and Malachi versus the Lucha Bros, but with what happened tonight in the main event, I don't think that's going to happen now. We'll talk about that here in a second because Rey Fenix just cannot catch a break, man. I'm telling you what. Yeah. Phoenix can't catch a break, man. Russo is about to be interviewed. The women's champion comes in. Don't care. Moving on. We have the Lucha Bros versus the Jurassic Express. This is the main event. This went about, like I said, like 15 minutes. Now, biggest thing I thought was going to happen in this match because Christian Cage a couple weeks ago said, I'm going to make sure these two win the tag team titles. And old wrestling brain of mine, everyone knowing this, like just watching old wrestling shows from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, somebody guaranteeing that is going to be turning, it just feels like he's going to turn heel and cost these guys the tag team title match. That did not happen. Fortunately, Rey Fenix, I think Rey Fenix is going to be out for a while, and Rey Fenix, again, cannot catch a break, because Rey Fenix, at least a couple times last year, 2 or 3 times, was out with an injury. Whether it was a minor injury, major injury, Rey Fenix is out again. This match was back and forth. These two teams were just going at it left and right. These guys can't, like, this was a stalemate of a stalemate. Alex Ampiantes had enough. He goes over, he clears off the timekeeper's table. He pulls it over. Like, guys, put one of these guys through this table and let's end this. Rey Fenix actually comes out and is like, no, man, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. No, no. Come on, no. Luchasaurus gets up, and I hate the fact that they did this way. Grabs Rey Fenix, choke slams him, and throws him and jumps out with him through the table. I didn't notice this originally, but I saw the replay. Rey Fenix goes to try and catch himself with his arm, and just snaps his arm. And then you see him laying there, and his arm is just laying out like it's been popped out. Rey Fenix could have broken his arm or something. Have talent in and out of the company just saying, "Oh shit, my heart broke." Everyone knows that Rey Fenix is injured. Absolutely. I feel for Rey Fenix because this guy can never catch a break, it seems like. Like, he does the... you can just tell Rey Fenix is done. Luchasaurus could have hurt himself too, but, like, he tries to catch himself, and it looks bad. I don't know what else to say. In the end, Jungle Boy rolls up Penta after Penta tries to do the straight from Mexico, whatever the name of the move is. Back at the call it Japan or something, whatever they call it. Rolls him up, 1, 2, 3, and the Jurassic Express are your new tag team champions. Now, on one hand, that is awesome. The Jurassic Express are more than ready to be tag team champions. We all called. I think everyone expected these guys. There were actually some out there until Luchasaurus got injured in the tournaments for the first tag team titles. A lot of people expected them to win the tag team titles. Obviously, they built up Scorpio Sky and got Scorpio Sky to be one of the first tag team champions in AEW history. That was by design. But this has been a long time coming. So out of the four pillars of AEW, Darby and Sammy have been TNT champion, and Jungle Boy is now a tag team champion. MJF has not won a title yet, but that is coming this year, plain and simple. So by the end of 2022, the four pillars will have a world title, TNT, 2 TNT title runs, and the tag team titles. Unless Sammy, of course, wins at Battle of the Belts, which I don't know if he's going to or not. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. But then comes the question, because this is TV. This is the referees have earpieces in their ears. So people in the back, if something happens like Rey Fenix getting injured, Tony Khan could be back there and be like, they could have had a totally different ending. Who knows what could have happened. But Tony sees that injury and is like, Rey's going to be out, so we can't really have the tag team titles on the Lucha Bros because Rey's going to be out. Like, signals to the referee and tells the ref to tell the talent that they're going to change the finish, go to this roll-up, and we're going to go for the finish that way, and the Lucha Bros are going to win, and the Lucha Bros are going to lose the tag team titles. So that's like, if it comes out that this was always the plan for the Lucha Bros to drop the titles here, that's fine. But that's going to be a question until that actually comes out. Was this supposed to be the Lucha Bros retaining originally, or Jurassic Express was always supposed to win the tag team titles? It's going to be a question for a few days or a day or two. I really feel for Rey Fenix. It's like, this guy just can't catch a break. Rey Fenix is going to be out for a while. You know who would be a perfect foil? A bad guy? Take on Hangman Page right now? Pentagon Jr. Give me Pentagon Jr. versus Adam Hangman Page at Revolution. MJF is Double or Nothing or All Out. That's when he's winning the world title. He's still got to get through CM Punk, and that's happening at Revolution. So MJF is preoccupied for Revolution. Give me Pentagon. Give me Hangman Page. I think that would be a damn good match. I would still like to see Adam versus Adam, Adam Cole versus Adam Page, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But Heart goes out to Ray Fenix. I hope this guy, it's not as bad. Maybe it's just a dislocated elbow, because if that's it, then he'll still have to have surgery and be out for a while, but it's not as bad as broken. Every time Ray Fenix, it comes with the game though. That's why it's called high risk, high reward, high risk and no reward. And got burnt this time. It sucks. Because I see what he tried to do. It's like when Finn Balor got buckle bombed into the barricade by Seth Rollins. He tried to catch himself. He tried to go back and catch himself with his arm, and he ended up fucking his shoulder up. Ray Fenix did the exact same thing here. So Ray Fenix, it looked like it might have been he just broke his elbow, because it was the elbow area in the inside of the elbow where it looked like he got hurt. So hopefully news comes out and it's just a dislocation, and be like, oh, thank God, because it won't be that bad. Man, Ray Fenix, one of the best high flyers in AEW, and it's you don't really want to tell somebody like that to tone it down, because that's just their lifestyle. Dante Martin's gonna have to face the same thing as well. But man, I don't know. There's just so much that could go wrong just like that, and he's gone. He could be out. If he's out for a significant amount of time, Pentagon be a heel again, go up against Hangman Page, challenge for the AEW World Title by Revolution. You can have Pentagon go and win a bunch of matches between now and Revolution. You have all of this month and all of September, all of February. Have this guy go on a tear and just beat everybody under the sun, get a title shot, and face Hangman Page. Of course, he's going to lose, because Hangman's not losing that title till he loses it to fucking MJF. But I would love to see that, if that's where they want to go. I don't know what the next thing is for Hangman Page, because he did beat Bryan Danielson tonight. That's done and over with. No more matches between those two. What's next? If Moxley comes back, obviously it's going to be Moxley versus Hangman Page. But Pentagon, if Phoenix is out for a significant amount of time, it would be interesting to see them get Pentagon from where he's at tonight to the #1 contender by March, and they could easily do that. So many people have gotten #1 contenderships just for wrestling on Dark. Have him wrestle on Dark, Dark Elevation, Rampage, Wednesday night, every fucking week that he can wrestle. Get this guy some wins, and then get him into a title picture. Alex Ambrijantes, I did like what Cody and Penta did last year when Penta was being a heel, when of course Ray Fenix was out injured. When they did that whole heel run, I liked, because that's when Alex started siding with and started doing stuff with Penta. That stuff was pretty good, because Penta is just good. He could be heel or babyface. I don't want to sit there and say, Phoenix is going to be just fine. He'll be back next week. We don't know that. All I know is, scary moment tonight in that title match. AEW's debut on TBS was a fail. Absolute fail. This was a bad show. World title match was bad. Wasn't a good match. TBS title, we're not even going to talk about that. It's a joke. Warlow beating up people, that's fine. Malachi, I don't know what's taking him so long. What are they waiting for to bring in Brody King? If he's already signed with the company, if he's injured, that's one thing. But I haven't seen anything about Brody King being injured. If he's not injured, what's taking you so long? Then you had the main event. The main event and CM Punk and MJF were the two highlights of the show for me. Everything else was just meh. But that is your AEW on TNT review. AEW on TBS review, night 1. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/the France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys on Friday with SmackDown and Rampage, and then Monday for Raw. Hit that subscribe. And that's all. See you guys later.